Hello and welcome to video number 2 of the Magic Collection software video tutorial. Now in the first video we discussed on how to install the software and that on your computer system. Now after you've ran the installation setup program, you will see a little icon appear here on your desktop with a little magic wand and top hat. If you left click on this twice, that will launch the software and you will see a window that will pop up about activating your software. Now a couple things here: you can run the software in what we call a trial mode for 12 times before you have to enter your activation serial code. So the software is full-featured, runs and everything, but once you run it 12 times, this window will pop up and this run trial will disappear, this button, and you will have to enter a serial code. Now, depending upon how you purchase the software, if you purchased it off of our website and you have a digital download version, the activation serial code was generated for you and is located on your email receipt. And so you just copy and paste that in here and you left click OK, and then that will activate the software and run it, and this window will not pop up again. Now if you purchase the physical version, which is on CD-ROM from a magic shop or at a magic convention, then you will either have a area here to enter your first name, last name, and email address, and a submit button. And what that will do is send that information to our server and generate a unique code for you, and it will email it back to your email address that you specified here. And you need to allow a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10, maybe even 15 minutes for the server to do that. Once again, you copy and paste that serial code here in this little entry window, and you left click OK. Now the other option is, if you bought a physical version, is the serial code may already be printed on a card that's inside the packaging of the software. So either way, that is the way that you register the software. If you should have any issues or problems, just email us at support@emgsoftwaresolutions.com, and we will walk you through it or help you out in getting your software registered. So that is how that will work. If we click Run Trial, there will be a window pop up that tells you how many uses you have left out of your 12 uses, and you just basically click left click OK, and that will launch your software, and you won't have to worry about the window anymore, like I said, once you registered it. So let's go into showing you how to use the software, some of the key features. Again, you'll see a little splash screen as the window or as the software starts up, and then all you do is expand the window out. And now let's go over a few things here. To your left side is the navigation window. This will allow you to navigate from one module to the other by left clicking on the little icon. So right now we're on Magic Props. If you left click on books and magazines, left click on DVDs and videos, posters, left click, Magic Memorabilia, left click, here's Magic Contacts, and then there's also Magic, or I should say a word processor. And there is also a full report module too that we will cover in another video. Now let's scroll back up here, left click on, let's go to Magic Props. Now most of these have a few items already listed in there so that I can show you a few of the features here. Now you will notice here across the top there's a little toolbar area, and that allows you to navigate and you'll notice this is highlighted here. If I left click on that right arrow, it moves down to the fickle fire. If I click the left, it'll go back up to the spot card. So that's a way to navigate. Then also there's a refresh button here. So if you enter something into the database and it's not showing up or something, you just left click on refresh, and that will refresh this grid view, which is what we call this area here. Now if you highlight one of the records and you come here and click delete, that will delete the record totally. So all data and information will be deleted, and you will not be able to retrieve that. So be very careful. There is a prompt asking you if you're sure you want to delete it before you do that. Also, there's a clone feature here, which I'll get into a little bit later in the video. And then obviously when you purchase the software, there are no items in it. So in order to add your own items, you just navigate to the module that you want to add an item in, and you left click on new, and that will open up a data entry window for you to start entering your data, which I'll go over some stuff on that here shortly. Now also up in this tool menu, if you left click on that, you will see backup, restore, and repair. And basically you can do a backup, and if you do a backup, that's backing up all of the databases. All of your information will be backed up. So you just left click on that, a file window will open up, you name your backup, and I suggest that you do dates and stuff in there, like My Magic Collection, and put the date and the year and so forth, and then navigate to the area that you want to save that file in, and left click save, and that will save your backup of your entire database. Pictures, everything will be saved to that backup file. Now if something should ever happen and you need to reinstall the software and you need to restore your database, you would just start the software, navigate to the tool menu, left click restore, and now you want to notice on this pop-up window, and anytime there's a pop-up window, make sure you read what it says, because in this case, restore will erase all data that was added after your backup file. So would you like to continue? So if you're needing to reinstall fresh, you don't have to worry about that. But if you did periodic backups, and say you entered 100 items in your database, and then you did a backup, and then you entered 50 more in that, and then you ran the restore with that first backup, then those 50 new items, obviously you did not back them up, so they would be deleted from the current database, and your backup would show the first 100 items. So that's why it's important to back up your database periodically. And I would do that if you're going through and entering a bunch of items and you're going to shut down your computer for the night. I would run a backup. And that way you have everything backed up, and you can always come back to the latest one, and hopefully you won't overwrite and lose any of the information. So that I would definitely do periodically, but always read the prompt windows that pop up, because it will have some important information before you utilize that feature or option. Now if you have to restore, if you've deleted files and changed things over a course of period of time, sometimes the databases kind of can get out of whack, and you can just come up here and left click on repair, and then do the repair feature on the databases, and that will repair any issues or problems that's popped up in that. So that's how you use those features. Now there are headers that goes across the top of the grid view, and these are all the fields of data information that's being kept in this particular database. So if you hover your mouse over, you will notice that it kind of highlights it, and if you right click, you will see a pop-up window that will give you a bunch of options. So you have on the alphanumeric categories or fields, you can sort by ascending or descending order, which is basically A to Z or Z to A. So it can put like dollar amounts in lowest to highest or highest to lowest, or by name. It will sort alphabetically by name of either the prop name or the manufacturer or condition or prop type or so forth. And then there's also a filter option, so you can filter out, say you want all stage props that were built by a certain company that are all in a certain condition, in a certain price range or dollar amount range or profit loss or whatever. Then you can create a filter here and click apply, and that will filter that particular database out and give you the results that way. Now, these columns are all adjustable. This whole grid is actually customizable. So if you notice, if I move the mouse over the divider that's between the two columns and left click, you can make the column bigger or smaller. In this case, the photograph gets larger. Okay, you can bring that back down to a smaller size. Say there's more data that's being, like in this instance here, you can't read what the prop name is, and all you do is just slide that over and adjust that field to show the entire name or manufacturer name. And you can go through and do that on all of the columns here of data. Now, when you first start the software, most of the columns will be shown here or scrunched up here. So you will have to go through and by right-clicking, say you don't want photographs showing, you would just go down and, like I said, right-click on prop photo, and then left-click on hide column, and that will hide that column. And again, you can do that on any one of these columns. If you want to bring it back, you just hover over, right-click, and select column chooser by left-clicking, and a little window will open up, and you can hold the left mouse button down as you drag the corner of the window, and that will open up the window and show you all of the data entry fields for that particular module. And then you can go back here, like right here is prop photo 1, and I just kind of clicked it one time, but you would just left click on it twice, and that will add that photo back in that column, or whatever column, data column, that you want to add back in. So you can customize this whole window however you would like. Also, if you notice, going down here in the blue bar across the bottom, we have a count going on here, so that's counting how many items that we have. And then we also have a sum total of price paid, and then a total of profit loss, and that's in parentheses, so that means I lost money in the items that I sold. You can do that for any of the columns. Obviously, the sum will only be available in the numerical columns, and then the counts and so forth will be available in the in the alpha column, alpha character columns and stuff. And that's achievable by moving your mouse on the blue area here, right clicking, and that will give you the total for, let me see, I'm under manufacturer. Yeah, you would just select the column. Let's go to prop name and just move the mouse down and right click and click none. That gets rid of it. So I want to keep track of how many items that's in this database. So I just move the mouse down this column, right click and left click on count, and that little count window shows up there. Again, same thing with price paid. You just come down, right click and do a count. There are also the options for average. That will give you an average of the price paid. And let me see, go back here to sum. So anyway, that will give you the running total of the columns for dollar amounts and so forth. Now, if you want to search this database or any one of the other databases by clicking on the module in the navigation window, you just go up here to the search area, left click in that window. Let's say we want to see what items do we have in box number 2. Okay, so we type in box 2, left click on search, and that tells me I have Fickle Fire that's located in box number 2, that's defined in my storage location. So if I left click on the little X, that will clear that out. And then if I want to search, like, what fire tricks do I have? Okay, I click search or return after I enter the search term here, and you see here I have Fickle Fire in the database. So that's one way of doing a quick search. If you want to do a real quick report and not use the report module, what you would do is customize your window with the fields that you want to show. Okay, and let me clean this up a little bit. There we go. And then anywhere in this grid area, if you right click, you'll see a menu pop up, and you go down to print preview. It will generate a preview of the grid view only, and you can see here you may have to go back in and readjust the columns so that these items are showing the header completely in that. And then you can also go up here to the page orientation, and you can do portrait or landscape. Obviously landscape, you'll get more information or more columns on the report. You can also choose the size letter or A4, and then you can also adjust the margins a little bit depending upon your printer and how close that you can print to the edge. You can squeeze in more columns and so forth. You can save it if you want, wherever you want on your computer. You can do printouts. You can also scale it down by percentage wise. And then you can also export out in PDF, HTML, rich text file, CSV for Excel spreadsheets. There's also some other Excel files here. And then you can also export it out as an image file in that too. So that's just a real quick little report that you can easily print out from the grid view. Now, let's get into the data entry, which I told you before. Left clicking, you have all of the fields and so forth here. Let's actually use one that's got some data in it. Let's go to the Fickle Fire by left clicking on it from the grid view. Here you can see all of the information that's entered regarding this particular prop. We have prop rating. You can rate it, how good the trick is, however you want to use this rating tool, and this rating tool is in all of these modules. There is also a storage location field in all of the modules too, and that will allow you to define where you have this item stored. Now, I would suggest that you take a piece of paper and you write down all of the different locations, like box 1, box 2, box 3, shelf 1, shelf 2, shelf 3, drawer 1, drawer 2, and get a list of all of the locations. That way, when you're going through and entering all of your items, that you can remain consistent in the storage locations and the way you name the storage locations. That way, later on, when it comes to do filters or searches, it makes it a lot easier, and it will show all the items pertaining to the type of search that you've done. So that's kind of a very important thing that you may want to do. Now, most of these have an availability status, whether it's not for sale, the item's for sale, not for sale, sale, trade, or you sold it. It will have the name of the item, the manufacturer or printer or whatever. Inventor, this particular case, we have the whether prop type, whether it's a stage, close-up, parlor, illusion, the effect, appearance, color change, disappearance. Most magic tricks falls into these categories. I have included other, which then you can put the explanation in the comment area just in case somebody comes up with something in the future that doesn't fit one of those categories. Here's a year released. Anytime you see the little arrow by a field and you left click it, that's going to give you a drop down menu. In this case, it's the year released. And if you use your wheel that most mouses have in the middle, you can scroll up and down and select a year, or you can use the up and down arrow on your keyboard, which I'm doing right now, and that will allow you to select the year that this particular item is released. And like I said, some of these other modules over here will have the year released or so forth. You also have prop condition details, whether from rating from poor to new, and then whether you have instructions or not, and missing parts. And if you do have missing parts, you can define that in the comments here. There is also a way to, let me clear this. There's also, if you have instruction sheets and you scan them and create a PDF file, and you name that file to correspond with the prop, if you click the left little dots here, and then you go over and find the file folder and scroll down to PDF, the name, and left click, that will actually attach the PDF file to this record in the database. And once it's in there, if you left click on it, it will actually open up in you can view that PDF file from inside my software. So that kind of makes it easier for you to keep track of the instructions and attach them to the actual file for the trick. And you can right click and you can clear the contents, and once you open it you can print them out and so forth. So that's kind of a pretty cool feature. Here in this tab here we have, well actually we have several tabs here. In this particular case you have the description of the effect, the secret and method, and then any comments you want to put here. If you left click on more photos, as you see here, we have multiple photos. Now you can use this for different angles, close-ups of the gimmicks, whatever you want to use these extra photos for. And you just add a photo by left-clicking in the box, and then scrolling down and finding whatever picture you want, left click on it, click open, and it will add that photo right into this record. So, and you can change them at any time by double clicking, left clicking on it, or you can right click and then delete that photo like that. Now, if you have a webcam connected up and you're using a webcam, you just right click and take picture from web camera, and you would just left click on that, and you can actually take the picture from your webcam and it will insert it right inside here. So that kind of makes it a little easier to do. Now, if you left click on purchase info, you have an area here to enter who you purchased the item from and the website name. And if you put a website name in here, once it's in there and you come back and left click on it, it will open your web browser so that it will take you right to that website from inside our software without closing the software or navigating to your web browser window. Once again, here's a little arrow, and this is for date, any of the dates that you see in any of the modules. If you left click, a little calendar will show up and you just select the date, and that will enter the date that you purchased the item. And if you left click on the month and year, that will show you all 12 months so that you can navigate easily to the month for that year. If you want to change years and go backwards, you go to the little left arrow and then you can go backwards. Another cool feature is if you left click on the year, it's going to show you about a 10-year span. And once again, it will go back in increments of about 10 years each, and you can go back in time and select when you purchased it. Obviously, some people don't know the exact date, so you would estimate at the date and the month that you purchased it and that. But anyway, that'll help you keep track of that. Same thing with price paid. If you left click on the little arrow, you will have a little pad come up that looks like a calculator. You would enter the by left clicking on the numbers and the decimal point and the 0, and then you move the mouse away from the pad and left click anywhere, then that will enter that amount. So price paid, let's go back to $50. The retail price, $50. I purchased it at Abbott's Magic Get Together. You can put any information here that you want. Left click on the sold tab. If you sold it to someone, you can put who you sold it again to. Again, here's the calendar. Sold to. Okay, same thing as before. Now you have the profit loss, and basically that's taking the price paid and subtracting the price sold. So in this particular case, I paid $50. I sold it for $30, so in parentheses here, I lost $20. But let's say I sold it for $60. Okay, now the parentheses disappear, and you see here that I made $10. Now there's also a buyer comment, so if you sold it to the person, you can put how much shipping was, the person's address, and information, whatever information that you want to put here. I've also included a value information area, and let's say the item's a collector's item, and it's you found a price on eBay. Well, you can note here that eBay, and you can go to the value date and enter the current value, and then you can enter any comments here that you want. Say there was something in the Potter Potter and Potter auction. You can grab that information and enter it here. And that kind of helps you keep track, especially of your more valuable and collectible items in your collection. So that's how that works. Now, once you've entered your information, you have several options up here to save your file. If you click Save, it's going to save the information to the Magic Prop database, and this window remains open. If you use Save and Close, it will once again save all of your data, and it will close that window out. Okay, let me open it back up here. Now, if you're going through and entering a lot of items into any one of your modules in the database, you have finished entering all the info, you just go up here and click Save New and left click, and it will save that data, and then it will open up a brand new window so that you can start entering information for your new item that you want to add to your database inventory. So that kind of makes it easier. You just go up, left click, and just go through and enter the data. So it kind of makes it easy for that. Now let's go to one other thing here, Magic Books. If we left click here, open up the window for Magic Books. What I'm going to discuss here is the clone feature here. So a lot of you may have duplicate books. One is signed and one's not signed. One's a first edition, second edition. Same thing with Magic Props. You could have one that you use in your show, and then you can also have one that is a backup. Okay, well, let's use the book sample example here. You have entered all the information in regarding the book, and now you can go up here, left click on clone, and what that does is it clones that record. Okay, now on the second one, you would go through and either change the location of it. You would go down here and select this one is not autographed, this one does have a dust jacket, or this one is a limited edition, or if it's not a limited edition but the other one is, if it was a first printing, second printing, and so forth. One's in better condition than the other. You can go then and select that. And then you would save and close this one, and here is your second one. You would save and close, and see, now you have two books here. Obviously the difference would be either like I said, condition, whether it was autographed or not, what version it was, and so forth. So that way you can keep track of your duplicates and differentiate between the two by selecting the proper field options. Now let's go here, let's get rid of that one. So I'm gonna, here again it warns you about that you're about to delete a record, and there you go, that deletes that record. So that's the basics of the software program. I have also included a word processor in here. Now if you hit new, it may take a minute here because this is loading a full-featured word processor, and this is exactly like Microsoft Word or even WordPerfect. This is all the features, same features and everything that you would pay couple $100 for in Microsoft Office to get a word processor like this. So you've got again the save as, and that's basically save as. You can save anywhere on your computer to any file folder. If you save, click save, it will save to the grid area so that all your documents are viewable from inside the software, and you don't have to go navigate to that folder and hunt that folder down on your computer. So it kind of makes it a little easier. Again, you've got a delete and edit button, quick print, and you can also export out in PDF format to the document. So you can also, it's got features here to do screen capture. You can insert photographs and headers, footers, page layout. You've got margins that you can set. You can also do custom margins, portrait, landscape, orientation, and then also page size. You can do columns. So you can do color backgrounds for the pages. Like I said, everything is exactly like Microsoft Word. You can also password protect them. There's a built-in spell checker, etc. And basically, you can use this to create list of all the tricks you're going to use in a show. If you're writing patter or jokes for your show or specific tricks, you can create a document here, and then when you go to save, it's going to ask you to name the document, and then you can do show jokes, and the subject could be egg bag, and then you can select the date and save it, and that would save the document. And if you go up here it is right here, show jokes, egg bag. So this way, in this grid view, you have all of your documents, jokes, patter, trick list, and so forth. And once again, you can go up here and do a search of egg jokes, and that will give you that document. And again, you just go and left click on the little X, and that will clear that out. So that is a very easy way to keep track of different documents that you want to create. One other thing I did include a Magic Contact database, and it works the same. You can rate the person or company or what have you. I put in categories, so they can be either a magician, a dealer, a wholesaler, manufacturer, illusion builder, or consultant. And again, you can add a photograph of that person or whatever type of image that you want to associate to this record. We got business name, website, address, city, state, zip code, phone numbers, email address, and a little area here to enter any type of comments. And everything else, again, works the same as I explained before. But that is the Magic Contacts. And again, there is a report module in here, and I will be going over how to use the report module in another video. So make sure you check our website out in the help and support page. We will be adding some videos and other tips and tricks in that on that page on our website. Again, thanks for watching, and thank you for purchasing the Magic Collection software